Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 500 subscriptions, and every subscription helps us out as well, guys. Share this video with a couple friends and let them know to subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. To our new subscribers, welcome to the Familia. This article today is a cool one, and a cool one for anybody that is a fan of Gladiator. Now, we've gotten some mixed reviews for Gladiator 2, and obviously Gladiator 1 is a classic. I myself didn't have a problem with Gladiator 2. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but it was a decent film. It wasn't a bad film at all, but it looks like Gladiator 3 is definitely going to happen. Maybe Ridley Scott has a bone to pick. Ridley Scott, there's certainly going to be a Gladiator 3. It's no secret that Gladiator 2 was an expensive production, and despite Scott reiterating that he was actually under budget when shooting wrapped, that $250 million budget confirmed by Deadline, Variety, and The Hollywood Reporter does stick out like a sore thumb. The film will not likely see big profits just from theatrical earnings and will have to instead rely on rental and streaming to make all of its money back. It's come to the point where it wouldn't surprise anyone if Scott's Gladiator 3 gets quietly shelved. Scott recently mentioned having so far written 12 pages for it, but he is going to continue on and try to convince Paramount to greenlight the third part. It sure looks like it is going to happen. At a press conference which took place on Friday afternoon, Scott was asked by a reporter on the status of Gladiator 3 and whether the film's current performance might impact the project. Scott seems to believe that Gladiator 3 is actually doing great at the box office. Given the performance in the rest of the world we've seen yesterday, there's certainly going to be a Gladiator 3. All right, then, I mean, if Scott and Paramount believe there's a large enough audience willing to follow Paul Mescal's Lucius on his next adventure, then by all means go ahead and greenlight the third chapter. Last week, Puck Scott Mendelson reported that Gladiator 2, which had a $55 million opening weekend, would end up grossing less than $450 million worldwide. Mendelson believed that the film would have a very hard time breaking even. Of course, when you take into account all the profits that the film will rack up on VOD and streaming, then yes, it will end up making its money back. But is a third chapter something that would actually interest Paramount? In my honest opinion, I don't believe it will happen. And that is the conclusion of that article from Jordan Rumi. Obviously, I don't think he was a fan of Gladiator 2. I saw a couple reviews from him. He had a lot of complaints about it. I think he was over-complaining about the film being a little dramatic there. As far as this film being greenlit, like I said, guys, it's all the business here. Paramount, they had to shut their streaming company down because they just weren't making any money. When you sink $300 million into a film and it doesn't even make the money back that it needs to make back, more than likely you are not going to get a third film greenlit. While the story might not be that bad, the money is just not there to make the film. Now, it's cool that Gladiator 2 came out. It did what it needed to do as a sequel, in my opinion, but the other aspect is the film does need to make money to pour more money into a potential sequel, because I don't believe that the sequel to Gladiator 2 would be any less expensive. Could it? It could, but they definitely have to drop some of that CG that they are using and maybe a couple cameras. I believe Ridley Scott was using 9 to 10 cameras while he was filming this last Gladiator film. Obviously, I would want Ridley Scott to take his time as well with this. I believe he shot 2 to 3 movies within a 2 to 3 year time span. Ridley Scott is one of the hardest working directors, but it could be affecting the work slightly. One of the main cinematographers that he works with came out and had some choice words for his process when they were filming Gladiator 2. He said a lot of it was rushed and it felt lazy. But with that being said, guys, let me know what you think about this article. Did you watch Gladiator 2? What did you think about Gladiator 2? How do you feel about Gladiator as, you could say, a series or a franchise at this point? And would you like to see a potential Gladiator 3? It looks like Ridley Scott is determined to get Gladiator 3 out there. So write that down in the comments what you think about that, guys. Like this video, share this video with a couple friends. Also, have your friends subscribe, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you once again. Once again, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers, like I said earlier, so every subscription helps. Ring the bell for notifications so you can keep getting these cool updates from me, Neff. And as always, guys, be safe. It's Neff signing off.